Hard Rockology Show, Chris, Matt, and Jason back with you. Some classic Scorpions going back to Animal Magnetism, one of my all-time favorite songs by the band. Don't Make No Promises Your Body Can't Keep. And I want to welcome to the show the one and only Rudolf Schenker. Rudolf, welcome to the Hard Rockology Show.
Hello. Yeah, hello, how are you guys, right? Yeah, we are in Germany, 10 o'clock in the evening, and yeah, I'm happy to be on your show.
We're glad to have you here, and I just have to say, I mean, you got a great catalog going all the way back to the early 70s, and one of the most influential bands, at least for both myself and my brother growing up. And I want to go back a little bit in a time machine a little bit, Rudolf. Let's go back a little bit to the very first album, the very first Scorpions album, Lonesome Crow, and let's talk about how the very first album came together and how the original version of the Scorpions came together.
First of all, Lonesome Crow was the first album we ever did. Yeah, that was a very interesting way into the possibility of make albums, because coming from Germany, it was not so easy to really get a contract, a record deal. So in this case, we were playing already around Germany and tried to get a deal, and we got the offer to make a movie, a soundtrack for a movie called The Cold Paradise, and the producer was Schlesinger, was his name, but not the famous Schlesinger, another Schlesinger. And, you know, he gave us he said, okay, guys, I want to have 3 songs from you guys, and it would be great to you guys producing it, and we will have it for our firm. And because we wanted to badly to get into the business, in this case, I was looking for a right studio, and that was the studio in Hamburg, the Star Studio. And by any chance and by luck and whatever, I was running into Conny Plank, the very magic man from Germany who already produced Kraftwerk, and he was very well known in Germany. And I spoke to him because I was doing management these days by myself for the Scorpions, because management wasn't allowed in Germany. So in this case, I was dealing with the Conny Plank guy to get a good deal for the studio. So, and by working on these 3 songs for the soundtrack, Conny Plank was very, very somehow, he was shocked because we played already so well, and by any chance, 2 members of the band called the Rattles. The Rattles was a band who was actually very big friends with the Beatles, because the Beatles started in the Star Club in Hamburg, and the Beatles came from Hamburg. In this case, these 2 guys from the Rattles were in the studio when we recorded the song called I'm Going Mad. And I remember when I was looking through the window of the studio, I saw Conny Plank talking to the guys from the Rattles, and I noticed by looking through the window, they were very much impressed, and yeah, which, like, you know, you can see when people are very emotionally touched. So anyway, when we finished the 3 songs, Conny Plank came to us and said, look guys, I'll tell you one thing, I want to offer you something. I want to make with you an album together, because I believe you guys can make it very big. I want to make an album, the Metronome, called Polygram. They're starting a new label called Brain. So, and I want to get you on this label. I want to produce you guys. It was fantastic for us to hear that. It was great. So, and 3 months later, we went into the studio with Conny Plank. We started recording our songs. We had already a lot of compositions done together. But this is interesting for Lonesome Crow, that we are, when my brother was in the band, actually, and Klaus, and then the bass player called Lothar Heimberg, Wolfgang Johnny, and drums. When we started to compose songs, we did it by being in this rehearsal place, and somebody was starting a riff, or somebody was singing a melody, whatever, and everybody was trying to get into it and give an idea through the whole thing. That means the whole album was very much composed by everybody. This was Lonesome Crow. So that is the story, very short or long, I don't know, told by me about the Lonzo Crow stuff.
Okay, well, everybody knows, especially in the hard rock genre of music, of course, Michael, your brother, played on that album, and then shortly thereafter, he departed to join UFO, and of course, you brought Uli Roth into the band to fill out the rest of the tour and stuff. And at the end of the tour, I guess you had asked Uli Roth to join the band. He had declined at that time. He wanted to go back to his band, Dawn Road. And at that time, I guess you made a decision, you know what, I really want to play with Uli, and you decided to dissolve the Scorpions, Klaus Meine included, to join Uli in his band. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened there and how from that decision, basically, I guess the classic first couple albums of the Scorpions, the lineup came into play.
Yeah, look, the situation was very clear. Actually, my brother, before he left with UFO to England, he called Uli Jon Roth, because Uli was already well known as a good guitar player, and called him and said, look, I'm leaving the Scorpions. What do you think? You can replace me. And Uli wasn't so happy about that. So, but anyway, he got already this note from my brother, and when I called Uli, and I called Uli on a different way, because we had to do one gig where my brother wasn't there, and we need somebody to really do the lead guitar parts. And I called Uli. I said, Uli, look, one thing, you can help us out, because we have one gig to do. It's a lot of money in there for our time in these days, you know. If it's possible, it would be great if you can fill the space and play with us something. Maybe something will happen. He said, yeah, why not? Great, because Uli was a guy who always loved to play, and we were sitting together in the rehearsal room, and he was very easy. He was very fast to get all the songs done a little bit on his way. More the Jimi Hendrix style. We already noticed, he is so much in Jimmy that, but it was interesting. It was an interesting sound. And when we finished and the gig was very successful, I went to Uli in his home, and I said, Uli, look, it would be great if you could come to the Scorpions. So, and he said, Rudolf, that's all my friends, and I can't leave them, and but I liked you guys. I like to play with you, and because when my brother left, the other two guys, the bass player and the drummer, they felt already, okay, the Scorpions are done, they're left already. In this case, it was very easy for Klaus and me to really, because in the first place, Uli asked, look, come to our rehearsal and see what you think. So I went with my guitar to the rehearsal place, and we played a few Scorpion songs, because I told him already, look, maybe we can play this song and this song. I want to see how it sounds like. So, but the point was, actually, these guys in the band, they were very friendly, they were great guys, and the chemistry, I thought, it's good. Another day, I went to the rehearsal, and I played already a few other songs, and I called Klaus. I said, Klaus, I have here some guys, they're great, it's good. Uli with this band, it's fantastic. How do you think so? I said, yes. I maybe go another time there to want to make sure, and then I would see, maybe we can convince some of them to play with us. So, but anyway, Uli was faster, and he went and said, look, Rudolf, I have an idea. Why not Klaus and you coming into this band, to my band, and, of course, the Scorpions already, they have a bigger name, and we call them Scorpions. I said, sounds good for me, and I will talk to Klaus. I will see what he think about it. And he, when I talked to Klaus, he said, okay, I come over and I also see what it's all about. And, he felt it's the same way like I felt, and then we start working on songs, and somehow the chemistry was great, but only one thing we changed very drastically. That was the way Uli had this feeling that, this composing in between the whole band, he didn't like so much. he said, I think that when somebody composes songs, he had to get a credit for it. And, when somebody comes with a song, the song is good and everybody want to play it, it's fine. It's anyway from who the song comes from. So I said, fine with me. In these days, I never composed a song by myself, but I know that I had now to work to find a way how to compose. So, and by this new situation, I went back home, and before we went home, we said to Uli and to the rest of the band, okay, guys, let's go. Let's get songs together and see what we can do with it. So, and I started working very much to get songs together. There were songs already. There were one or two songs where my brother already was involved when we started to write for the next album after Lonesome Crow. And I brought these songs, changed a few things, and then I start composing by myself, like Speedy's Coming and stuff like this. So, but the situation became very interesting that we had, in a very short time, we had around 12 songs together done. Of course, a part composed by Uli, his Hendrix style, sang by Klaus, some of them by Uli, because he was more in the blues and Hendrix kind of guy. So in this case, Klaus and me, we became more a songwriter team now, trying to really get good songs together. And so now, what can we do? How we can record the next album? So, but there was a situation, a good and a bad side, because there was a new label called RCA, a new label for Germany, because RCA was always connected to another label, to another big company in Germany, but RCA thought that they maybe do their own office in Hamburg. So, and by the situation that our first album, Lonesome Crow, was already published by Slesak Music. Slesak Music was a publishing company who was the owner. He was working for Apple, for the Beatles in the earlier days. So he was already very connected to international markets. And I was pushing very strongly to be connected to this publishing company, because when we did this deal for Lonesome Crow with Connie Plank, Connie said to us, I produced the whole thing, but you have to sign the publishing deal with the owner from Star Studio. And I said, what is the kind of guy is that? He said, it's a German guy. I said, look, now I don't want to sign with a German guy. I want to sign for the international company, because I want to play maybe sooner or later in the United States. Connie was going like, you guys, you want to go to the United States? You are crazy. You know what kind of guys are playing in the United States, what kind of musician they have. I said, it's okay. Yeah, no, I know what they have. It's great, but I don't want to put myself in a position to sign with a German company. I want to have a company which has international experience.
Exactly.
So he said, okay, I understand you guys, but in this case, I have to give you guys directly to Metronome, to Polygram.
Okay.
Because I'm financed by this guy from Star Studio. So in this case, so now we're coming to the point that we got from this publishing company, from Slesak Music, this guy came to us and said, you know, guys, I was sitting together with the RCA Germany guys, and they heard Lonesome Crow, and they want to sign you for the label for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Well, I said, oh, great, fantastic. So we start to do a contract and everything, but the oil crisis happened.
Oh, the oil crisis,
you know, in Germany, exactly. All this vinyl became very expensive.
So let me get this straight. In
Germany,
because of the oil crisis, and vinyl records, of course, are made out of oil byproducts, so there was a crisis going on there.
Exactly. So in this case, the company said, look, guys, we can sign you now, but we can't give you the normal a deal. We give you, I think it was 4% or something like this, because we don't know what will be happen in the future. So, okay, we signed the whole thing, but we were very, in this case already, trying to be visionary into the future. I said to the guys, I said the same situation I did with Polygram. I said, look guys, I want to have one clause in the contract which says that when we play in foreign countries like France, Belgium, Holland, England, and any other kind of country, you have to release the album in these countries. So this was very, very important for our future situation. Why? Because we were a little bit in a cage. You know, how you can go outside of Germany, there's no record, nothing. So what I did is I tried to get some gigs in France, in Holland, and in some other places, and I called the record company and said, hey guys, here it's a contract. We play in France, we play in Belgium, we play in Holland. You have to make sure that the album is available there. So in this case, we got signings by the French people, by Belgium and Holland. That was very important for us, because if you have a record there out, then you also have the possibility of really getting the stuff played in the radio. And when you play live, very important is that the album is available, that the radio knows that you're coming, that they have something to play. So, but now we're going back to the situation to record this album, Fly to the Rainbow, where we can go. So I called the Musicland Studios and said, look guys, we want to do an album, you have time available? They said, yeah, we have time. And I said, okay, I want to book the time between this and this and this. That was, I think, 73 to 74, something. We came to the Musicland studio to start our album Lonesome Crow, to Fly to the Rainbow, sorry. And who was behind the board? Mac, the guy who did, before he did us as a sound engineer, he was sound engineer for the Rolling Stones. Later on, he was a sound engineer and producer for the Queen, and also for Electric Light Orchestra. We was running directly into one of the hippest guys in hippest studios in continental Europe. So in this case, we started working with Mac, and he had already very much international kind of experience. So, and we start to working on it. It worked very good, everything fantastic, except the mixing point. We were a little bit upset of mixing, because Mac, he was always putting the vocals very deep into the sound. We were unhappy. We asked a record company, RCA, can we remix the whole thing? We went to Hamburg. We went into the studio, remixed Fly to the Rainbow, and here we are. The second album came on the market, and from there we start to going into foreign countries. And we found out by going into Fly to the Rainbow and doing the whole situation, we noticed we need a producer. So what we did in these days, I was looking for people. I had somebody in my mind. That was Dieter Dirks, because I was looking already for a band called Atlantis, which sounded very good. Inga Rumpf, I think she was playing also in America for quite a while, including a band called Lake and a band called Epitaph, three German bands who played in America already before we played there. But anyway, from my point, the favorite producer was for me Dieter Dirks, and Uli Jon Roth, he had somebody else. He said, you know what, I think we have to go in, we have to try to get Ches Chandler. So we tried to get Ches Chandler, we couldn't get him. So in this case, we went called Dieter Dirks and said, look, we were looking for a producer. We did this and this and this, and. So he said, where are you playing soon? I said, we play in a festival in Dortmund. And he said, okay, which day? I said, we play the first day. So, and we invited him, and somehow he, because he had maybe too much to do, he, by mistaken the 2 days, he came to the third day, and asked when the Scorpions are playing. And the people said, yeah, Scorpions are played last night around 2 or 3 o'clock. Everybody went to sleep before they played because there were some bands that were not interesting. And when the Scorpions played, the whole people, because in the old days, the people came with sleeping bags and were sleeping when the band was not good enough. And you could see a complete sold-out hall with all the people lying on the floor and sleeping. You know, not sleeping, but some sleeping, some maybe smoking a joint or whatever.
That's interesting.
But anyway, we came on stage and we played, and one after the other was waking up and looked. And when we were finished, the whole hall at night, 3 o'clock at night, was crazy and up there. You know, they're putting the sleeping bags away because they said, "What? Who is this?" So in this case, we were very successful. Dieter Dierks couldn't see us. He called me and said, "Rudolf, sorry, I couldn't make it. Is there something else where I can go?" I said, "Yeah, today we play next to Cologne. Maybe we can make it there." So he made it, and blah 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 blah. We talked about things, and here we are. Dieter Dierks said, "Okay, guys, I think that we can work something out, but I want to make it a test recording. A test recording. I have here 2 songs from the band called The Suite, and I, in this old days, it was like this: if there is a hit from the English-American band, and you make a German version out of it, you getting the half of the money of composing stuff. You getting for even when you only sell 10 singles, you getting the half part of the English version, so the American version.
So you guys, he was going to have you guys cover a couple Sweet songs, correct?
Yeah, actually, we had to do 2 songs called Fox on the Run. What was it?
Fox on the Run.
In Germany was it? Yeah, Fox on the Run. In Germany called Fox Geh voran. And then the other one was The Hunter. I forgot which one this song was. Maybe Action or whatever it's called. I forgot. Anyway, we worked with Dieter Dierks. He saw that we are doing very good in the studio, and that was the starting point of working for RCA for the next album called In Trance.
I wake up